So why did I decide to name this one Success Wasn't Meant to Feel Good? And if you haven't seen my last video, I highly suggest seeing that one too. I think that one's called Get Used to Doing Things You Hate. So they're similar in a sense, but I'll just share different points in here. And the reason I talk about success is, first of all, I made a promise to myself years ago to stop making content, because back then I would make videos on Instagram and YouTube and all that stuff, try to be, another guru. But I realized the stuff that I'm talking about, I don't have the money that I want. I don't have the relationships that I want. I don't have the communication level that I want. Like, I didn't really have many things that I wanted, to be honest. Make sure I don't get run over. I didn't have many of the things that I wanted. So I was like, why the hell am I then trying to give other people advice when I need help? So I was like, all right, let me just stop. And I made a vow to myself of like, unless I achieve a certain level of success in different areas of life, relationship, wealth, purpose, and so forth, then I'm not gonna talk about it. And I'm not talking about I'm talking about success as in a level that other people can admire and respect, and then something that they would want for themselves. Okay, for example, by age 21, I got to a point where for the first time in one day I made $8,000 profit. Right, by age 22, the most I made in a day was near 12,000. 11,000 something, but 12,000, right, in profit. And revenue wise, I don't know, 60K plus in a day. And I didn't even speak the language, right? Most of my family members didn't even know. But what was my weakness, right, was I wasn't hitting that every single day. I would make a lot of money because I wasn't used to it, and I would stop working or doing the right things the rest of the month, right? So the entire month I would make 12,000, when in reality I just made it in a day and then stopped doing it for a rest. So for example, in that context, then the thing I would be able to share, I would have been able to share, was how to make that much money in a day, or what it takes to do that. But then now I was like, let me work on making more money consistently every month, right? And as an entrepreneur, you have up and down in the what your business is producing. But I'm talking about average, right? Being able to produce higher income that most people would want anyway, right? And I was reading the study that most people, just an extra $500 a month could make or break them. Meaning, if they lose $500 a month, they go to immense amount of pressure because everyone's living paycheck to paycheck. But if they made $500 more, it would actually release a lot of survival points, right? So I'm sharing success from that aspect, that I've actually been able to physically in real world accomplish something, right? And I know I'm not in front of like a Ferrari and all that stuff, because most people listen to those people, but those people just rented the cars and rented the mansions anyway. So for me, listen to the common sense of what I say and test it for yourself, and then you go get the Ferraris and all that. Although I did get a six-figure car like by age 22, that was literally on many people's dream board and everything, but I'm just not the person that really cares that much of like showing off that stuff. Most of the time I had it to enjoy for myself. Like you barely see it on any video. So why did I say success wasn't meant to feel good, right? Here's an example that just for some reason made sense to me. Okay, so let's say if you and a few of your friends were really good at making money, right? Let's say success in that context, because that's what most people want, is more money. Let's say you guys were super good, right? You know how to make billions of dollars, but at the same time you're like, oh, but I don't want competition. I don't want like other people to make that, because what I'm gonna get less, right? So wouldn't it make sense for you guys to sit down and write down every little thing, every little detail that is making you make all the money, whether it's the different mindsets you have, how you look at life, how you move yourself in your life, in your business, how you do things, right? How you communicate with others. Let's say if you wrote down all the details, you're like, okay, these are the reasons that we're able to make all this money. Wouldn't it make sense to then be like, okay, now how could we program or do something that where people do the exact opposite, so that they will never be able to make the money, so we could make all the money ourselves? Like, wouldn't that just make sense if that was you? Now, many of you, obviously, you have morals, principles, all that, so you're like, I would never do that. But we're talking about hypothetical, right? But what I came to understand is that was actually the truth. Is certain type of people looked at what it took to be successful, and then they created different things, right? Like the education system we have today, like the movies, music, parents, different things, right? And when I say parents, is how the parents were programmed to do the parenting, right? So it's like certain things were put in place to make people literally not be able to make money at all, right? Or not have the relationship they want ever. And every relationship they do get in, they end up getting divorced or separated and all that. And look at all those rates, right? So for me, I got to a point where I realized I can't even trust my own thoughts. I can't even trust my feelings. I can't trust everything, because if I did trust it, that meant I would already have the results I wanted. But since I didn't have it, therefore, I came to the conclusion of like, all right, maybe my thoughts and feelings are not correct, okay? Which many people have a hard time even getting to that. And it's like, okay, like, how could you argue with that point? Like, if you are at a place where you're not happy, then wouldn't that no one else did that for you. You listened to your own thoughts and emotions and got yourself in that place, right? So for me, that's when I went on my journey of, okay, maybe I have to find mentors. And I used to watch videos, and I don't remember, I've watched a few videos where they talked about how much the importance of having a mentor. It made sense to me. I was like, okay, if I just find someone that has what I want and has been where I am right now, then they could just tell me what to do. And then anytime where I feel like giving up, I could just give them a call, be like, hey, I feel this. What did you do when you got to this position? I just realized, okay, if I had someone like that, my chances of succeeding would actually be higher. I mean, doesn't that make sense, right? And that's when I went on my journey. Long story short, found two mentors, few, but then two that were actually like where I wanted to be in terms of how they process information, how fast they could read, how fast they could comprehend, how fast they could build a business, how successful the relationships were, how even their kids had an ability to read super fast and understand things. And I was like, that's what I want, or that's a good starting point. Let me get to that, and then from there I could figure it out, right? I could go further. So what was interesting is when those two individuals became my mentor, then anytime where I felt like, okay, if it was just me by myself, I would do this, I would then give them a call, be like, hey, I feel like doing this right now. I feel like doing that. Is that the right decision, or what would you do? And virtually like 99% of the time, it was the wrong decision, which made sense. I was like, okay, no wonder I was never getting the result, because I was just doing the wrong things, even though it felt right to me. But they explained to me how, the masses were programmed in a way to go based on their emotions, to go based on the feeling of chasing happiness and everything. And now I realize, like, we weren't meant to feel good. Like, look, I mean, you see all these trees and everything? Like, you think humans going around cutting all the trees, burning, like setting forests on fire and doing all that, not from the starting point of, there's a thing where you burn a bunch of trees so that the other seeds have can have the ability to grow. But I'm talking about just doing it for no reason. It's like, or going to war, right? Killing different animals, like all that stuff. you think all the trees and all the animals and everyone, you think they feel good? Like, they don't feel good, but they're still here. They still give oxygen every day regardless, right? The sun is giving heat, whatever, every day regardless of how it feels. Imagine if the sun went based on its feeling, and one day it was like, oh, I don't feel good, I don't feel happy, and it just chose to not give heat. Like, what would happen to all of us on Earth? Now, some of you may live in parts of the planet where you're like, I don't see the sun anyway, but guess what? The sun is above the clouds, so you get some of it, right? So that's that, right? It's like, question your belief of why do you think that success is meant to feel good? Just because you see few people on social media are happy and post pictures on being on a yacht or whatever, that doesn't mean they actually feel happy inside, right? It's like, you don't know what they're feeling. And I've talked to several of those people. What they actually feel is a lot of stress, anxiety, right? Stress because, like, at the level, like, the more money they make, the more they have to manage, the more responsibility they have. So it's like, what if they mess up? Then everyone else is gonna blame them, right? Look at Jeff Bezos, right? That guy makes, God knows how much he makes. Because, I mean, according to Google, like, hundreds of billion. But you look at just Amazon, just one of his companies, and Amazon has 1.6 million employees. And now imagine how many businesses he has. So it's like, he has to take responsibility for that many people. You think he feels blissful? You know, but they feel blissful in the sense that they know that stress isn't bad, that they're meant to feel that way if they want to grow. So it's just, they were programmed differently, right? So if you understood that, then you wouldn't care about your feelings that much every single day. You would just go do the thing necessary to then be successful, if that's what you want, right? But there's also different degrees of success. So it's like, maybe you don't want all the big glorious mansions and this and that. Maybe you just be happy with like a normal nice home, right? So I mean, that is a pretty nice home, right? So maybe that's what you want, right? So, because even the thought of wanting Ferraris, all that, even that got programmed into you. Like, imagine if you were from a small town and had access to no internet. You didn't even know what a Ferrari was. Like, do you think that that's what you wanted? You probably want like a tractor or something, you know? So that would be like your Ferrari. And I want tractors. That's why I brought it up. Because it's like, I've been, I have some friends and so forth that own ranch and property, and it's fun. Like, I like that now. I wanted the Ferrari, all that, but I realized, doesn't matter. Maybe at some point I'll get it because more people listen. But I want people to listen because now I'm actually sharing common sense that works. It's already worked with a bunch of people. Now I decided to just share it with you here. And yeah, if you want to connect one-on-one to chat, my Instagram, all that is in the description. But yeah, really think about this point for yourself and let me know your thoughts in the comment below. See ya.